When it comes to success on YouTube or any social media platform or in life really, or with any kind of creative endeavor, I have to reiterate this point to some extent slightly because I think it deserves a wider audience really among creatives, and it really deserves to be more presciently within the mind of creative types and individuals pursuing any kind of creative path in life, or pursuing any kind of path in life that involves the creation of products, even I suppose that's a creative endeavor, or the offering of services, possibly even, or scientific endeavors, which I consider to be part of creativity also. But yeah, achieving like online success, or achieving what people consider to be online success, say a YouTube channel with tens of thousands of subscribers, like say that's your metric for success. That's when success has been determined, for instance. I don't think it quite is that, since I know a lot of very talented people who made things of very high quality, musicians, for instance, who only have sort of like 17 subscribers, and like their video has only a couple of hundred views and like about 15 likes or so. But nonetheless, I think like really, really good music, lovely stuff, wonderful songs, and it's really a shame that they haven't gotten bigger. I think quite often, and like really, they deserve to be bigger, but they're not. And like it's on the one level, there's this algorithm we have, and like then there's like all sorts of people. I just watched a channel of a guy who's basically giving tips and tricks on how to get successful on YouTube, and like for that reason he gets like 50,000 subscribers, and his videos have got hundreds of thousands of views and so on, and he's really figured out how to play the game of YouTube. But like ultimately, when it comes down to like the people who get remembered, like for great achievements and so on, they're the people making the great songs of their generation. They're not the people giving advice about how to get successful on a social media platform. Do you see what I mean? So, in a sense, like your subscriber count means nothing at all. And in terms of the amount of money someone like that's making, this guy, who was giving advice on YouTube had about 56,000 subscribers or so, and like really a channel of that size is not going to be making much money. And within every video, he'll have either a sponsor or a call to action to try and sell a product to his audience, and so on and so forth, all of whom are just dying and desperate to get successful online on YouTube and what have you. And it's a little bit sad, I think. Like, who's the real loser? Is it my friend like who has 17 subscribers but wonderful songs, a beautiful album he's created, and with 150 or 200 views on a video and 15 likes? I consider 15 likes a success. If a video of mine gets 15 likes, or any amount of likes of that order, I think, hey, fucking hey, I did it for once. And occasionally, like videos of mine do get that many likes. I consider like anything really above 5 likes to be quite successful. Really, I think that's fair. And the problem is there is just so much stuff out there. People find it so hard to find stuff that's interesting and cool to them. It really is a minefield, the internet, and there's big channels out there with teams of people working around the clock to design like the ultimate YouTube video. And they're experts on social media. They know how the algorithm works. They know all the tricks of the trade. They know how to create content that's mass merchandisable, and that will be absorbed by the masses, and will proliferate among them, and will succeed in going viral on social media, and they can do that consistently. There's lots of people out there who have this sort of awareness now, and they're able to do it consistently, like often with quality content, granted, with well researched, well put together stuff that people are interested in and enjoy, and like break complex topics down into easily manageable chunks, and easy to digest for the mass audience. And there's a lot of merit in doing that sort of thing. I don't deny that. There's lots of like quality content out there which is very popular. Then on the other hand, there's lots of like other content out there that is popular but is just, I think, sort of like the self-help market, for instance, is so huge. And like these videos on how to get successful on YouTube, they're sort of like the self-help market a bit for people who want to be successful. And I think what we need more is a radical reframing of what success and failure amounts to. And we have to start looking beyond people's bloody subscriber counts. And we have to stop looking so much at views and so on. Because the only people really making the big money on YouTube are the accounts with several million subscribers. And I'm just tempted to say that very often, in those cases when they have this many subscribers, like, are they really doing anything? Because a lot of like content on YouTube and TikTok and so on, you know, the big channels, these big sort of celebrities that come up on the internet, like a lot of them I think are really quite toxic as well, and they're putting out garbage content, and it's nothing really to be proud of, or that other people should be proud of watching, or that's really going to aid or benefit anyone in any particular way. And so, by the same token, some absolute gems exist among the smaller channels. You know, I watched this like old Irish guy reading his poetry, and he's got like 150 subscribers or something like that, and like it's poetry that is of the order of Patrick Kavanagh. It's beautiful stuff very often. So yeah, I've said this sort of thing before in YouTube videos. You know, do not be disheartened in your creative path by the popularity of what you do. Like, if something is lacking in popularity, like on a level, it might indicate that it's of a higher standard actually than most things. I mean, it's for a very select sort of audience who have rarefied tastes, almost, and who appreciate finer things. And very often, you know, stuff in the mainstream is trash for morons, more or less. And like that is the way of it. It's like what Schopenhauer said, you know, if you want to appeal to a large audience, you have to appeal to stupid people. That's more or less like what he said. So like, don't be disheartened, you know, that what you do has limited appeal, because and by another token also, what you do might have limited appeal now, but if you keep going with it, if you keep developing your craft or crafts or whatever it happens to be, you know, you might break through into stunning success down the line at a later date. There's always that possibility as well. And there's no real way to predict, I don't think, quite when that's going to happen. Like for some of the great artists, that never happened for Vincent van Gogh during his lifetime. It never happened for Emily Dickinson during her lifetime. It never happened for Franz Kafka or William Blake during their lifetimes. You know, these writers and artists were sort of only rediscovered after they're dead. And that is a very real possibility that we have to face up to as creative people. You know, the full extent of what we've achieved might not really be appreciated while we're alive. That is a real possibility also. And it doesn't, like, the fact of that doesn't detract from the value of what we're doing. And it's so hard to continue pursuing these things and to continue pursuing them sincerely and earnestly, which I think means roughly the same thing. But yeah, to continue pursuing these with a sense of sincerity about us, and to consider what we're doing worthwhile if it seems to be ignored by most people. It's very hard to do that, I do grant you that. But if the thing that you're pursuing is the work itself, and to create something of quality that will outlast your existence and will say something about who you are, the world you lived in, your loves, your hates, your neuroses, your views on, your perspectives on this experience of life and being in the cosmos, and all this sort of stuff that art makes possible, that art and literature make possible, that music makes possible. If you can do that, and as bloody hell, Kipling, I believe, said, you know, allow your heart and nerve and sinew to serve their turn long after you're gone, then you must do these things and not sell out and just join the corporate world and give up on everything and say, I'm just going to get a normal job, and you know, I'll renounce my creative practice in favour of, you know, a quick buck for today, and, you know, miserable 9-to-5 grind and a mortgage and a house and responsibility and all that. If you're frankly not made for that sort of life, and you're made for something a bit more fringe and bohemian and adventurous, possibly even, and it comes down to, you know, whatever sort of life you want to lead. Like, maybe you weren't pursuing it sincerely enough if you do take the former option, you know, of life of office grind and mortgages. But no, absolutely not. No. The value of something does by no means consist in its popularity. Of course not. No, it doesn't. If you've changed the life of a single human being with anything that you've done, I once wrote a poem like, if I brightened a single person's day, I've succeeded. In fact, if I get one like, I've succeeded. You know, maybe I have something that I need to say that will get no likes. Very often my videos do get no likes, but I had to get it off my chest. I had to leave a record of it in history on the internet. And, you know, I exploited the opportunity to do that even. I've made videos I regret as well. You know, the videos I'm not proud of. But yeah, a lot of the time, like, the things I've said, like, felt necessary at the time at least. Motivated by desire to usually defend myself in one way or another. And, you know, we all know what the videos those are. You know, you can find those on my channel as well also. But, you know, it's not, I wouldn't have said like pride is something I feel particularly for videos like that, but nonetheless, like, perhaps I don't regret them so much. Many of them. I regret certain ones, I think, but not all of them. And yeah, don't try not to feel a sense of disappointment if your videos don't go viral, if you see what I mean. It might just be for, a handful of people in the first instance to enjoy. It might just be for your friends, you know, and then maybe many years down the line it will develop into something legendary. And we can only hope that that's the case. And so often that is the case when we're ahead of our time. And, you know, we're not the man of the moment necessarily. But we might have the potential to be that in the future. We might be operating with creative forces that are frankly beyond the understandings of the people at the time. Some other step forward in human progress may need to happen before the relevance of what we've done becomes apparent. If you see what I mean, that might also be the truth. But no, like, with creativity, one must follow the yearnings of one's soul and the heart, which of course connects to the soul, I think, in an obliquely obvious way, which is like a way of saying non-obviously obvious way, which sounds like a tautology, but perhaps it isn't one. And yeah, indeed, the best advice I can give any sort of creative type is like, fuck the obscurity, fuck any haters that emerge, just keep going, keep trying to get better, keep trying to be people of quality, and keep trying to make things of quality. And so much quality stuff, like pearls in the ocean, just sinks to the bottom. That is life. It seems very unfair, but you've created something small and precious very often, and that much has great value to the people who need to hear things like this. So thank you for watching as ever. I love you lots. It's been lovely talking to you.